the model of the community stations is about a double project. On one hand, it's a collaborative educational model, linking university and community to co-produce and co-curate and co-manage activities pertaining to education and research. But at the same time, it is a shared model of urban development. We have 4 community stations, 2 in San Diego, 2 in Tijuana. Because of the partnership between UCSD and Groundwork San Diego, which is the group in this neighborhood, the school district gave us access to that 4-acre piece of land to co-develop it as a 4-acre open-air climate action park for this underserved community, linking 8 public schools that surround it. And so all of a sudden we have access to land, and the university has, again, connections to a network of foundation and philanthropic support. And the linkage, again, of the school district, the grassroots organization, and the university began to produce an amazing process of shared responsibilities and funding for advancing this public space for climate education. Living rooms at the border in San Isidro became another model, which is really the first station that we actually built. It is a similar example where the nonprofit organization owned the land. The university, through us and through our own processes, were able to raise enough funding to transform an existing church that was falling apart really into a community theater, flanked by social service pavilions and an open air performance and educational porch. Became our community station and became the seed. That investment became the seed for the nonprofit organization, our partners, Casa Familiar, to qualify for subsidies to construct a model of 10 social housing units that are threaded strategically to that public space. And now, thanks to the Mellon Foundation support, we're beginning to inject into those spaces the cultural and educational programming in collaboration with our partners. So effectively, this is really about a new model of interface between social housing and public space. And finally, in Tijuana, in the migrant shelter, which is really the third of the 4 community stations, it is a similar model. With our partners, we have been acquiring land, and now it is about migrant housing that is embedded in an infrastructure of productivity, fabrication workshops, health clinic, classrooms, collective kitchens, so that the migrant and the community can advance cooperatives with us that can enable them to be in possession of their own modes of productivity, job generation, and again, permanency if they choose to remain.
We're trying to sort of amplify the shared interests and aspirations of people who inhabit this territory together and to identify a citizenship culture. So what really links these community stations together are the cultural activities that take place within them. All of the pedagogic content of these stations is focused on reimagining our region and what this region looks like without the wall. And we partner very closely with environmental agencies on both sides of the border to actually do collaborative cross-border environmental interventions through the community stations network.
I would say this is really the community stations end up being an infrastructure for a kind of long-term form of resistance, injecting tools to increase community capacities for political action, to really transcend, transgress, produce coalitions on both sides, projects that really are about mutual recognition. The idea that these sanctuary spaces as public spaces is really about creating sites to construct that sensibility that Fonna was talking about, a new type of public and civic imagination, transcending the stupidity and of the imposition of that political boundary that disrupts and separates these communities. So it's about new forms of reciprocity that need new forms of education, dissemination, communication, and so on, and commitments, long-term commitments for reciprocity. So I'm thinking, again, that public spaces, this network of sanctuary spaces, is really about constructing citizenship mobilized by new forms of cultural action, where critical pedagogy is central to reorganizing sensibilities, changing hearts and minds, understanding that the border wall is a self-inflicted wound not only separating us from the other, but really altering, undermining our own social, environmental, and economic resources.